Hey everyone, Alan here with Rigoletto Music. One thing that so many guitarists are always trying to do is build up their speed. I'm not just talking about taking shredding, face-melting solos. I'm talking about taking something that's a challenge for you and practicing to build it up to your goal tempo. Practicing developing your speed is something that can get very frustrating very quickly. It takes a lot of time, and it can start to build up a lot of excess tension in your hands, which can really be a practice killer. In this video, we're going to look at a technique called the speed burst and a routine that will help you to find a relaxed way to develop speed in your playing. When you're trying to build up speed on the guitar, it might seem like the natural thing you want to do is to sit in your room, throw on the metronome, and play just as fast as you can for as long as you can. If you're working on a difficult passage, you might just go straight for your goal tempo and just try to hack through it until you're able to get it. These two ways of practicing aren't very efficient, and they do a really great job at building up lots of tension in your hand. You might find that over time you're starting to get better at playing faster, but it's not a relaxed way of playing. And what we really want to look for when we're learning how to play fast is a light and relaxed approach to playing the guitar. When you're playing light and relaxed, you're able to play everything at the speed you want to while working on your musicianship and the feeling in your music. If your playing is really tense while you're playing fast, it's not going to come out musical. It also might not be as tight with the metronome or ensemble you're playing with as it sounds to you in your head. All of these things are things you want to avoid, so that's why we're going to approach the practice of building speed with using speed bursts. If you already know what speed bursts are, don't give up on me just yet. I'm going to go through a routine that you might find really beneficial for your playing. So what exactly are speed bursts? Speed bursts are exactly what they sound like. You're taking very small bits of music and playing them at a faster speed. What this means is, if we want to learn this much music at a goal tempo, what we're going to do is take just this much music and play it at that speed. Then we piece it all together until you're able to play the whole thing just using small bursts of speed as opposed to trying to conquer the whole thing at once. Through doing this, what you're doing is you're training your right hand to have a very relaxed attack, especially in the wrist, and in the left hand you're also approaching the strings with a very relaxed pressure. We're also learning how to sync up the two hands at faster speeds. By doing groups of 2, 3, or 4 notes, what you're doing is giving your hand a more digestible amount of information to work on. This way, you can give yourself the opportunity to relax and let any tension release itself before you move on to the next phrase. So now let's talk about a really good speed burst routine. For the sake of simplicity for this video, the example of music I'm going to use is an A minor pentatonic, which we're going to play at the 5th fret. Most of you probably already know how to play the A minor pentatonic scale, and you probably know how to play it very, very well. Just bear with me. Let's use something that you already know how to play so we can learn the routine really well. If you don't know how to play the A minor pentatonic scale, this is a really good opportunity for you to learn how to practice. You're learning how to practice both the speed burst routine and also learning how to develop a new scale position. If you want the tab or music for the A minor pentatonic scale and the exercises I'm working on, I have all of this over at my blog at www.rigolettomusic.com. You can check out the link in the description for this video. To start off learning something new, before you start getting into playing it quickly, you have to play it obnoxiously slow. When I mean obnoxiously slow, I'm talking something like playing half notes at 60 beats per minute. You might think that this is kind of counterproductive. It's a waste of time because you're trying to build up speed, so why should you play slowly? The thing is, playing this really slowly helps your brain to fully understand what you're playing. It helps your fingers connect with the frets, and also it adds an extra challenge that you're not used to. When you're playing this half-note pentatonic scale, you'll find it's actually pretty challenging to play because in between notes you have to really keep track of where your hands are. When you're playing quicker, it's very easy to just get into a momentum. But when you're playing slower, you really have to take each note with precision and care. So let's start out by playing this A minor pentatonic scale, half notes at 60 BPM. Now let's start doing some speed burst exercises by starting with groups of 2 notes. The rhythm we're going to play is a dotted 8th note to a 16th note. You can think of this as long, short, long, short, long. Next we're going to reverse that rhythm. This is what we'll be doing with all of these. We're going to go 16th note to dotted 8th note, or short long, short long, short long. Now let's start condensing these groups of 2. We're going to do an 8th note to 16th note rhythm. If those groups of 2 were pretty doable for you, then let's move on to doing groups of 3. Out of all of these exercises, the groups of 3 might be the most difficult because they add an extra element of syncopation to the rhythms. Make sure you really get this rhythm right. The benefits will be really good for practicing this syncopated rhythm at a higher tempo. So to start off, we're going to do 3 16th notes and 3 8th notes. So short, 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 long, long, long. Now once again, let's switch the rhythm. We're going to do 3 8th notes followed by 3 16th notes. My personal favorite of this whole exercise routine is doing groups of 4. So we're going to start off by doing 4 16th notes and then 4 8th notes. And now let's switch it. 4 8th notes to 4 16th notes. Once as you've mastered the groups of 4, work on being able to extend the groups even further. Try to go for groups of 8 notes and eventually go for the entire scale up and down at full speed. Most of you will find that the tempo of 60 BPM is incredibly easy and you're probably really looking to start playing faster now. That's fine. Now it's good to start pushing the metronome. The first step in doing that is to find your personal edge when it comes to playing these speed bursts. The larger the group, the lower the tempo is going to be. Finding your personal edge means finding the tempo that is just fast enough where you are able to perform the piece of music that you're working on really well, but you feel slightly challenged while you're doing it. If you go to a tempo where you're being challenged too much and you're starting to play really sloppy, then that's not going to be very beneficial for you. You're going to start building up bad habits in your playing, building up hand tension, and also simply your technique is not going to be good, so the music you convey is going to sound sloppy and disorganized. When you find your personal edge, you might make a mistake here and there, but generally you should be able to play the music you're working on really well. The goal with working with your challenge tempo is to work on playing this tempo routinely over the course of a couple days or even weeks without going faster. Then, when you feel like you've really mastered this tempo and it's no longer that much of a challenge for you, then you can start to find where your new edge is. Don't work too quickly with this. It will be very tempting to move your tempo up, 30, 40 clicks within an hour. I'm talking about finding your edge and really letting it settle in. Stay with that for 2 weeks. And even though you really want to move forward, just stay with it, and you'll find that you're getting real benefits from practicing at this speed. You'll also find that when you start to try to move the tempo up, you have a much easier time pushing the metronome, and you'll go further than you realized you would be able to earlier. The two most important things for developing speed on the guitar are being patient and being consistent. You have to be patient because it takes a long time to get to where you want to be. If you feel like you really want to move forward and you start pushing the metronome before you should be, you are just simply adding bad habits into your practice routine. The two most important things for working on developing speed are being patient and being consistent. You have to be patient because it's very easy to want to move ahead of what your capabilities are. Stick with what you're working on, have a plan, and eventually you will be doing faster playing the right way. Really set a goal for yourself. If you want to get to be a faster player, make sure you practice every day, and maybe practice every day for a certain period of time, such as 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or however long you think is a reasonable amount of time for you to keep this consistent practice. What you'll find is at the end of this period of time, you've built up a habit of practicing. And even though your 60 days might be over, you might find that you're just now practicing every day, and you'll continue to practice every day for much longer than that 60-day period of time. If you have any questions about what I talked about today, or if you'd really like to see me cover a certain topic on the guitar, please leave a comment on this video. For more guitar tips from Rigoletto Music, please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and please check out my blog at www.rigolettomusic.com. The link for all of the music that I talked about today is in the description of the video. This is one of the blog posts on rigolettomusic.com.